My name is Tequila Jones. I'm here to present the real side of school counseling in relation to classroom management and classroom counseling. To begin with, the question is, what are school counselors truly expected to do in terms of classroom counseling and classroom management? Well, school counselors are expected to come into your classroom, maybe present lessons on topics that the students can relate to. The counselor is expected to be a resource to the school when they're trying to work with certain issues that they want to resolve, or to help them meet their goals for that school year, or help the school be successful in its mission statement for that school year. That's what they're expected to do. But realistically, counselors are not utilized in the classroom, or even as a resource to teachers to help with issues in the classroom as much as they should. And speaking with counselors one counselor in the elementary school level, two counselors in the middle school level, and one in the high school level in my particular school district, their roles are kind of different depending on their location. In the elementary school level, a counselor is utilized a little bit more as a classroom counselor, coming into the classroom and presenting topics that the students can relate to, or that may be beneficial to the students, as far as character traits. That's like a big thing in elementary school, where a counselor will come in and present lessons on character traits, character building, things like that. When we start moving into the middle school level, it changes a little bit. The focus is more on individual counseling, whereas the teacher may refer a student to counseling services, or a student may request to see a guidance counselor, and then the guidance counselor is utilized more as an individual counselor versus coming into your classroom. And then the high school level, the focus becomes career counseling. What path are you going to take? What are your future plans? What can I do to help you get there? Let me back up. In middle school, the few times that I can remember a counselor coming into the classroom is always towards the end of the school year, when we start talking about high school registration and picking your classes, and discussing GPA and things like that, and what are some of your concerns about going into high school. And honestly, that's the only time I've ever had a counselor come into my room and actually do a presentation or some type of lesson on something that the students can benefit from. The ASCA national model states that classroom guidance is an important part of the delivery of guidance services in the school, and is recommended that counselors spend 25 to 35% of their time delivering their service, their guidance curriculum. However, that most counselors aren't able to do that in the classroom. One problem is that, and this is the real side of it, one problem is that most schools and even individual teachers don't want to give up that classroom instruction time for a counselor to come in and talk about bullying. I mean, that's just being honest. They don't. Especially when you start getting closer and closer towards the end of the year, and you start talking about EOG, you start talking about EOC preparation and things like that. A lot of teachers and a lot of schools don't want to take away that time for real, classroom instruction. And also, any extra time you may have, that time starts being utilized for tutoring. So even if a counselor did have a little bit of time they could squeeze in to come into the classroom, it's normally taken up by by tutoring as we get close to the end of the year. Another issue may be that some counselors, and this is not all counselors, but some counselors may not have classroom experience, either as a teacher or a teacher assistant or something in that capacity where they were in the classroom. And they may feel uncomfortable going into a classroom setting and presenting a lesson like a teacher would. And that's just the real side of it. Unfortunately, counselors are not being utilized in the classroom. They're not being utilized as a resource for teachers. If I was a teacher having an issue with classroom management, you would think that I would go to the counselor and say, I'm having this issue with this group of kids. Could you come in, maybe do some type of session, see what's going on, maybe there's something that I'm missing. But that's really not happening. Whenever there's a discipline problem, the first thing we do is run to an administrator. The counselor is normally only thought about when we recognize some type of emotional or mental issues with a student. Then we want to refer them, or maybe if we see grades are dropping, then we want to refer them to a guidance counselor. But we never really pull in, when I say we, I mean teachers, we never really pull in counselors and use them as a resource in our classroom. Realistically, we're not. So the real side of school counseling and classroom management is that guidance counselors or school counselors are not being utilized in the classroom, where they're not being pulled in for classroom counseling. Some of them may not have classroom management skills, honestly, if they don't have that experience. And some of them may have it without even having that experience. Also, schools may not even recognize the benefits of having a counselor there and utilizing them utilizing them in the classroom. So the real side of it is that counselors are not being utilized in classroom settings as far as counseling, or even as a resource for classroom management, or may even lack the experience for classroom management. And that's just the real side of it. Thank you.